This is Brandon with Fleet Feet, and today I'm going to be comparing the HOKA Mach 6 versus the New Balance Rebel V4. This is HOKA and New Balance's Uptempo Daily Trainer. An Uptempo Daily Trainer is really something that you can do for a variety of workouts, tempo day, easy runs, long runs, whatever it might be. You're just gonna have a little bit of a faster feel underfoot than those traditional everyday trainers. These shoes are going to be able to take you through various paces, workouts, and types of runs. New Balance is positioning the Rebel as a long run shoe, a shoe that you can really go the distance in, and HOKA is positioning the Mach 6 as more of a speed day shoe, though I think both of these shoes are pretty great because they're both up-tempo daily trainers. They both don't have plates in them, by the way, and they're both snappy and fast. So just from a use case perspective though, HOKA is saying that this will be better for those faster days, workouts, and a little bit of those speedier runs, and this is going to be better for those plush, softer ride, long run feels from New Balance. I've tested both of these shoes now, and I wouldn't recommend either one of them for the race day distance. I think there are just so many great race day shoes, especially from HOKA and from New Balance. New Balance has the SC Elite V4. You should probably be racing in that shoe. And for HOKA, you've got the Cielo X1, which is a pretty darn good shoe too. And you have the HOKA Rocket X, which is also a great shoe too. So moving down to the uppers of both these shoes, starting with HOKA, it has what's called, I've never heard of this before, a Creole Jacquard upper. I know that HOKA makes a lot of Jacquard uppers, but I don't really know what a Creole Jacquard upper is. And honestly, like, I'm not that concerned about it. Honestly, the upper fits really well underfoot. The lockdown is there. There is a gusseted tongue. I will say it is a bit of a narrower fit, which I do like. Now with the Rebel V4, it is a blend of both synthetic and mesh for their upper, and it is a little bit wider. So you can tell it's got a bit of a wider fit here, whereas this one has a bit of a narrower fit. The Rebel V4 has a little bit less overlays, a little bit less structure to the upper, but it is a little bit lighter and it does have a bit of a wider fit. It's more breathable. This is a little bit more structured. It's going to be able to lock down and wrap over your foot a little bit tighter. And overall, you're just gonna be able to corner a little bit faster in this one, I think, and you're gonna have a little bit more control while you're running through your stride. I personally enjoy a little bit of a tighter fit and a little bit of a narrower upper. So the upper for me and the HOKA Mach 6 was something that I preferred. But if you're someone who has a bit of a funky foot shape or a little bit of a wider foot shape, or you just like something a little bit more accommodating, then I would go for the New Balance Rebel V4. If you're looking for something a little bit more narrow, then go with the HOKA Mach 6. Now the midsoles of these shoes are different. Both of them got an update. So from the Rebel V3 to the V4, this is a blend of PIBA and EVA. And for the HOKA Mach 6, from the 5 to the 6, the HOKA Mach 5 had a dual density layer. So it had one layer of foam at the top and another layer at the bottom. They had ProFly Plus at their top, which is their softer, more responsive foam. And then they had this structured layer of EVA just below it. Now what they've done is they've gotten rid of both of those foams and they've made the entire foam one slab of supercritical foam. The HOKA Mach 6 is gonna come in just a little bit firmer, a little bit more responsive, a little bit better and more tailored for those faster days. The Rebel V4 is going to be just a little bit softer underfoot. That fuel cell technology is a blend of EVA and PIBA, like I mentioned, and it's just gonna be a little bit softer, a little bit more relaxed on the foot, and a little bit more forgiving. When I was running in both of these shoes, I honestly didn't notice too much of a difference when it came to pace. I found that both of them really provided a lot of response and feedback through my stride, so I was able to get a really great bounce feel and a little bit of a faster stride in both of these. I found them to both be pretty fast underfoot, but if you're looking for something a little bit softer from a midsole perspective, then I would go with the New Balance Fuel Cell V4, but if you're looking for something a little bit firmer and more responsive, then go with the HOKA Mach 6. One of the biggest differences between these shoes is actually the platform. So the base on them, you can tell that the Rebel V4 is just so much wider of a base than the Mach 6. So really what you're gonna get is just a little bit of a wider feel in this one overall than this one. This one, you're gonna feel like you're maybe running on a rail a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit more nimble. You're gonna be able to corner maybe a little bit faster. Whereas I felt like in this shoe, it was just going to be a little bit more of a cruiser. So if you're going to just run in straight lines or there's minimal turns, then this shoe will suit you a little bit better. It really just depends on what you're looking for. It is interesting because it really does seem like HOKA and New Balance Balance both were tailoring straight to their use cases, exactly like they said they would. You've got your nimbler, faster shoe, and you've got your softer, more long run shoe. And when I'm going fast, I want something a little bit more narrow. And when I'm going the distance, I want something a little bit wider and more accommodating for my feet. From an outsole perspective, I felt like the rubber on both of these shoes were great. You can see that you're gonna get a pretty good tread in both of these shoes. You're gonna get a lot of durability and a lot of miles out of them. I would say you'll probably get 200 to 300 really good miles in these before they start to like deaden out or start to like soften up or kind of lose a little bit of their magic. But who's to say? Some people take these shoes up to 400 miles and do great. But for me personally, I would recommend anywhere between the 200 to 300 range, especially as an up-tempo daily trainer that isn't intended for that max cushion. With all of the access to great rubber technology and different grip systems, most brands these days are able to create a pretty solid outsole rubber that's going to be able to go the distance, and HOKA and New Balance really have been able to do that. You're going to get a little bit more foam underfoot in the HOKA Mach 6 than in the New Balance Rebel V4, 30 in the heel for the Rebel and 24 in the forefoot, making it a 6mm drop, so it is a little bit more of an aggressive drop than the HOKA Mach 6, which comes in at a 5mm drop, 37 in the heel and 32 in the forefoot for the men, and for the women, you're going to see a 35 to 30. Both of these shoes, I don't really notice drop that much. I think it's gonna be fine overall in your run and when you're picking up the pace, whether it be cadence or speed or whatever you wanna consider, whatever running jargon you wanna think of, I generally find that drop isn't my biggest concern in a shoe. Usually I find that stack plays a huge part in a lot of shoes, but drop, not so much. Moving on to the weight of these shoes, New Balance comes in a little bit lighter than the Mach 6. On my run, there was a noticeable difference in weight. From the Rebel, it definitely felt much lighter than the Mach 6. However, they're not that much lighter in difference. The New Balance Rebel V4 comes in at 7.5 ounces or 212 grams, whereas the HOKA Mach 6 comes in at 8.2 ounces and 232 grams. While both of these shoes are pretty light, I did feel that the New Balance Rebel V4 was just much lighter underfoot when I was running. So that is something to consider if you're looking for a lighter weight option, then go with the New Balance Rebel V4. But I will say that the HOKA Mach 6 is their lightest Mach yet from HOKA. So that means that the HOKA Mach X and the HOKA Mach 5 are heavier than the HOKA Mach 6. So if you're someone who loves the Mach series and wants a lighter Mach, the HOKA Mach 6 does solve that for you. The last thing is that both of these shoes come in around $140. So they're gonna come in around that competitive price range. They're going to be giving the $130 and $120 shoes that are everyday trainers a run for their money. When you have these faster up-tempo daily trainers, they're just more fun to run in. They're just gonna be a little bit peppier, a little bit snappier, a little bit more exciting underfoot. They're gonna shine a little bit brighter than the shoes that are a little bit more dull or just a little bit more relaxed underfoot. Would I pay the extra 10 or 15 or 20 bucks for a shoe that's just gonna be a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun underfoot, or is just going to be a little bit more of an activated shoe? Yeah, I think so. And I think from an up-tempo daily trainer category, both of these shoes fit into it pretty well. So I think New Balance has come out with a great option here, as well as HOKA. For New Balance, if you're looking for something that's wider, if you're looking for something that's lighter, you're looking for a shoe that has a little bit less stack, but is also going to be great for those long run days and is a little bit softer, then you go with the New Balance Rebel V4. But if you're looking for something a little bit faster, a little bit more narrow, a little bit more nimble underfoot, a little bit higher off the ground, and you're gonna be able to do a little bit of faster workouts and tempo runs in this shoe, then I would go with the HOKA Mach 6. Now, personally for me, I think I like the ride and the midsole of the Rebel, but I like the upper of the Mach 6. So if you were to give me a little bit more of a narrow upper, but then a wider base and a softer foam underfoot for the Rebel V4, I think that that's something that I would love. So I would just want to like combine these shoes. I personally prefer like a really nice tight fit on my upper, and then I like a softer fit on the bottom of my shoes. So both of these shoes have their pros and their cons for me. Overall, I think that they're both safe bets. I was able to take these out for a ton of miles and had so much fun in them. So really no issues here.